Autumn is in the air, the pumpkins are in the patch, and our friends at Manscaped are here to make sure you don't carve your pants pumpkins when you're grooming. If you know what I'm saying. Make sure you're keeping things fresh this fall with the leaders in male grooming and their brand new 4th generation performance package. Boys, get ready for a cuffing season like no other. Ready to take the leap into fall with Manscaped? Join the 2 million men worldwide using Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code AgeOfRadio. First off, the new Performance Package 4.0 includes the new Lawnmower 4.0. If you're looking to cozy up this fall, this trimmer is essential. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. This nose and ear trimmer uses 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system to provide proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Then, after trimming the pumpkin patch and whacking the leaves, give your balls a boost and use Crop Reviver. Once again, get 20% off free shipping with the code AgeOfRadio at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code AgeOfRadio at manscaped.com. Make your balls a priority this fall. Choose Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
Age of Radio.
All right, so let's see if we move. We can put the chair over here, and yeah, I think Fraser really liked that, or I think this is because I'm honestly this is one of the 5-timers I'm the most stoked to be putting into the 5-timers club.
And that's a big statement, Nathan, because we have Sam Jackson and Arnold Schwarzenegger
And Gamera.
Wow.
Right?
And Rennie.
Yeah.
Rennie Harlan. So many good people.
Gamera was going to be without a doubt. I mean, he was a given. But Fraser, it's really nice to be able to get in here. So
Welker in the house, fellas. What's going on?
Hey, Frank. Don't you have a house?
Oh,
I mean,
do I have a house? Gentlemen, it's me, 7-timer Frank Welker on the podcast. It's just so quaint that you're giving little old BF his own spot here. That's really cute.
First of all, he is 10 times the actor you are. Oh. Secondly,
I'm sorry. How many dogs did he voice?
None.
That's how you measure talent.
Okay, I don't know. It's not, okay? Because here's the thing, Welker. Just because you've done some cat and dog noises and you've managed to sneak your way into this 5-timers club, but you never leave. You're constantly littering. You eat all the microwave burritos. I apparently getting into the 5-timers club as a voice actor is a thing, which makes it easier than getting into Arizona State.
Oh, Nathan, jealousy is not a good look, man.
Oh my God!
I'm just
Welker's
just hanging out. I'm making everybody feel good about themselves. You know, I'm kind of like a mentor. Like you hang in there, kid. You'll be in the 5-timers club one day. Don't worry about it. Meow, Welker.
Look, Welker, just get out of the way. We got to get Fraser's chair in here. We've got the tailor coming in for his smoking jacket, and we got to set aside a section for the movies, his movies, so he can watch them whenever he wants, whenever he decides to drop by once in a while, like most people do at this place.
I mean, if you got a place, you gotta camp out. Am I right? Hold on, I'm getting a call. Hello, Hollywood? Yes, this is Frank Welker. I'll take it. Sorry, business calls.
Okay, listen, Welker, if you don't knock it off, I'm going to get Milos to come in. He's going to take you on out, and if you get real fussy, I'm going to get his girlfriend, Mother Superior, in here, and she's really going to give you the screws.
What? Me worry?
Okay, no, you are not that funny. All right? So just get your stuff, move it out of the way so we can get Brendan Fraser's stuff in here.
I'm not afraid of Milos.
Oh, really? Okay, cool, fine. Milosh! Oh, yes, Mr. Nathan, how can I... Oh, it's Welker. Frank, I do not want to deal with you today. I am tired of the messes you're leaving, and even I wouldn't take your shoes.
I'll get a Pepsi. Crystal. Ow.
No, you won't. Get out. We have good actor Brendan Fraser, Canadian national treasure, coming in, and he will not be harassed by smelly jerkface like you.
Woof woof. Gonna take a nap.
Oh, sweetheart! Could you come in and help, please?
Welker. I'm gone.
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to What Were They Thinking, a podcast about bad, questionable movies, and I, of course, am your host, Nathan, and with me, as always, is the Pauly Shore to my Brendan Fraser, Brendan. Hey, see, you're Brendan again, but you're not. You're Pauly Shore this week.
You know,
I know how much you're looking forward to that.
more upset than I was with last week's comparison. But just stay tuned because there may be a surprising take in this episode.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to
Alright,
say.
All right, well, we'll wait with bated breath, but
Bait that breath. You're a master of baited breath.
all right. So this week this is our double shot of Brendan Fraser.
Yep, Fraser Fest 2021.
Canadian national treasure in a movie that I remembered better than it was. Encino Man, or also known apparently in the international markets, California Man.
Yeah, not as snappy of a title.
No, but I get what they were going with it because, I mean, you're talking about like the stages of the progression of evolution of man, right? So Java Man and like that. So California Man, it fits it, but Encino Man definitely has a better kind of ring to it.
And much like last week, I had never seen this movie before getting ready for the podcast. So I literally watched this 2 days ago.
I watched this a lot in the 90s.
Now, my main reason for never watching this is one particular actor in this film who goes by the name of Pauly Shore. Ever since I saw the film Biodome, which I do not recommend to anyone with a heart or a brain,
Man.
I was pretty put off by Pauly Shore. And I think this is, I also saw In the Army Now as a forced movie night at camp when I was a child. So yeah, not a huge fan going into this thing.
It's weird because, teenage boys are definitely his target demographic for the type of comedy that he does.
I don't know, man. It never clicked for me.
He was a huge hit. My brother and I actually got in trouble and yelled at by our parents a few times for mimicking his speech pattern in this.
Ah, yes.
Hearing it for an hour and a half is fine, but when your kids have been doing it for 2 or 3 days straight, it can probably get on your nerves.
I wonder, did you watch this movie with your children?
No, I didn't actually. They were home when I was watching it, but I think they were actually like downstairs playing the Switch or something.
It would have been interesting if they did the same thing to you and it all came full circle.
Oh, yeah. But they didn't, so we're good.
And as you heard in the opening, this makes Brendan Fraser a 5-timer on the show. And I
Yep.
also want to note that this is the the third movie we've done with Rose McGowan, aka Rose McMeowan.
McMeowan.
And the second of those movies that she is in with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. So okay. Well, let's pitter patter. Let's get at her. Plot. This movie is about a couple of high school social outcasts, I guess.
One of them is clearly coded as a stoner, but they can't say it.
Right.
His name is literally Stony.
Stony. Yeah. And he even has his own little theme song that he sings at one point where he says he's a stony, crusty dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a stony crusty dude. Did you know that? Yeah, I got a mop on top.
He likes to eat a lot, gets the munchies, so yeah. Which is weird because there's a lot of stuff that they get away with in this that I'm like, you know what? Pot's nowhere near as bad as what you're doing right here. But I digress.
It's crazy because this movie's only PG. That's not even PG-13.
Yeah. So, a couple of high school, I guess, outcasts, misfits. Not even though. I mean,
Well, nerds. I guess they're kind of called.
I guess nerds.
dorks.
They are. Yeah. They discover a caveman frozen in a block of ice in one of their backyards. They thaw him out, and he becomes a lawyer. A powerful attorney who...
No, but I wish that was made into a movie.
No, they thaw a stone... caveman. I mean, he's supposed to be passable as a teenager, high school student at this point, or at least a senior, because he goes to like prom and everything. There's not a whole lot of plot really to unpack. They unthaw the guy, try to help him fit in modern society. Hilarity ensues.
And listeners, folks, when Nathan says there's not much of a plot to unpack, he really means it. Like, this movie is almost like when you get those VHS tapes. There was like Ultimate Fights Volume 1, and it's just all these like random fight scenes from movies. It's pretty much just like all scenes that would be funny if a caveman was around in like the 90s.
And I said this to Brendan a couple of times discussing this before we started recording, but it almost felt like it was the pilot for like one of those NBC Saturday morning teen sitcoms, or like the ones you'd see on like Disney Channel or something like that. They have like this outlandish premise: two guys find a caveman frozen in a block of ice, thaw him out, and they have to make him, fit into modern society in a whole fish out of water type situation. Of course, he gets up to all kinds of hijinks because he doesn't understand, simple things like what fire or salsa is,
or salsa dates.
Right. So that's kind of it. Like this probably would have quite well as one of those. As an hour and a half movie, it feels like a bunch of skits about this caveman trying to fit in loosely strung together to try to pad out a movie. I noticed right away that there was an interesting name as a producer on this, George Zaloom, and I was like, man, I know that name. Wasn't that Beekman? And it wasn't. That's Paul Zaloom. And so I was a little upset, but also kind of glad that Beekman wasn't involved in the production of this movie.
I was too busy listening to the haunting opening score. I was like, am I watching Apt Pupil here? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Because we open on Ice Age Encino.
Mm-hmm.
And Brendan Fraser is trying to start fire to keep him and his cave woman mate warm because it's so bloody cold out. This is the only time we get any sort of drama or actual fear of bad things, like really bad things happening.
Right.
I also want to note it's Encino in the Ice Age, and that cave probably still cost him $3,000 a month to rent.
Yeah, we definitely didn't see his like 4 other roommates too.
Right.
And also a very realistic Star Trek earth-shaking effects.
Yeah, well, I mean, in all fairness, I don't think they... Nope, that's not the same.
Okay.
I don't feel they were going for big budget on this. I mean,
7
look at
million.
the people that are in it. 7 million, but I mean, look at the people who are in it. I mean, yeah, some of them went on to maybe bigger and better things, but at the time weren't doing a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah, no, not even Pauly Shore. Like at the time, this is like his first big thing. This is Brendan Fraser's definitely first big thing. Sean Astin, I mean, maybe a little bit before this, but
He did like Goonies and stuff like that, and a couple other like Toy Soldiers, was it?
and there's like a few other like character actors, but nobody A-list in this movie at the time.
No. But there are definitely, like you said, the Rose McMeowan's in there, and I actually have a funny note. There's a guy in here who's, speaking of character actors, he plays one of the skater dudes. What's his name? It's like when they go to the skate place. I'll get to the note when we get to that. That way I don't have to dig through it. We'll get there. So yes. Ice Age Encino, there is an earthquake, as Brendan noted, and
Me, not Fraser.
right. The unnamed caveman at this point falls into a chasm, and then poof, we smash cut to modern age. I can't say present day because this was like 93. And an earthquake in Sean Astin's place, and he unfortunately is woken up by that, and then has his sheets ruined because he left his icy up above.
I was gonna say, where was that? Because he's laying in bed and an icy seemingly just crashes down from the ceiling.
I'm assuming he had it on a shelf or something, like next to his bed.
It just seemed like it was directly above him, and I was like, did he just do that 90s sitcom thing where the place is a mess and there's a pizza stuck to the ceiling or whatever?
Here's it seems implausible, but now having two teenagers, totally plausible.
Also, I have a hard time believing that a lot of people in this movie are teenagers, but that being said.
That aside,
Yeah.
like I said, we get the earth shake, and we get the external of Dave's house, and the rent for his mailbox is probably the same amount as the cave back when Brendan Fraser was renting it in the Ice Age. I will say this about this movie, and that this did stand up for me as far as remembering it. This movie has a really good soundtrack. There's a lot of cool 90s, and it's not just one genre. You get they open with that there's a tune that opens it up. Reality used to be a friend of mine. Reality used to be a friend of mine. It's got that almost like a PM Dawn type sound to it. Let's see, Infectious Grooves with Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies. Apparently they go to one of the richest schools in Encino because they've managed to hire Infectious Grooves to play the prom. There's a really cool Vince Neil track on the soundtrack, and just a ton of other stuff. It's got a really great soundtrack, but the story and everything else going on it does not hold up, almost 30 years later to me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and we find out that Sam is the only one in his whole neighborhood without a pool.
You just called him Sam, and I'm wondering if you were thinking of Samwise Gamgee.
I think that's probably why I did that, actually, when I did the note.
Yeah, no, they don't have a pool, and he's digging out a pool, and that hole is enormous. I was like, how long has he been digging this pool?
Well, it's one of the things that the kid is actually, he set his mind to, and it's not horrible.
I was gonna say this might be his only positive
Right?
characteristic, because yikes.
Yeah. He's out trying to dig his own pool, and we are introduced to Stoney because we hear Dave's mom yelling at him because he snaked the last bagel, and he has no interest in helping his friend Dave dig the pool. Surprise, surprise.
How would you describe? Now this is Pauly Shore. How would you describe Stoney's look?
Neo hippie.
It was. I was trying
1,000%. I went to school with kids like this. Maybe not maybe not to the spaced out but a degree. But when I was in like grade 9, this fashion was legitimately a thing.
I believe it. It just looks like there's like 4 different things going on at the same time with this guy. And he also looks to be about 10 years older than Sean Astin. But I think he was like 25 at the time. But
all the weed that he smokes.
Yeah, I was gonna say they look old for high school, especially Pauly Shore.
Yep. But we come to find out that being an awful person runs in the family, because we meet Dave's sister, who is just a delight. Calls him a loser, says he's never gonna have a girlfriend, and he might as well just like bury himself in the pool. Like, she is awful.
She is, but then when we later find out what Dave is like, I'm like, maybe I'm more on her side.
Like I said, runs in the family. I feel, because we got, and that's the thing with this movie. Like, it starts hitting cliches from the like ground running.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we got the stoner sidekick guy, the lovelorn dude who wants to, who wants to be boyfriend to the girl that he's pined for his entire life. The mean sister.
Nathan, I'm just gonna step in for a second here. Not pining for his entire life. They make sure that they say specifically that when Dave, Sean Astin, was friends with this girl, Robin, when they were younger, he says he never went for her because she didn't turn into a babe until later.
Oh, well,
so
okay.
He had no interest in her when because even like Stoney says, she clearly liked you. Like when you were kids, you should have gone for her right away. And he said, yeah, but she wasn't hot then. And I'm like, right away. First thing comes up. I'm like, this guy's not a good guy.
No, he's not. And he proves it out quite well over the entire movie. And I remember watching this as a kid and not catching any of this stuff.
Oh no.
Thinking that this was absolutely, normal things, because this was honestly, this movie is not out of place with any other like teen movie at the time.
No, I think it's just now we're a little bit more wiser to this kind of stuff and pick up on that a little more.
Samwise, actually.
A lot, we're a lot Samwiser. I don't think Samwise would be like this towards women. He cared for Frodo very much.
Yeah.
And Pauly Shore, so they're both on this little like moped, and Pauly Shore is wearing this bright pink shirt, and which my note was, I'm waiting for someone to say it. This is the 90s. Come on, who's going to say it? And no one said the other F word. That comes later.
Nah, much later. I was, and actually in retrospect, I'm surprised that it doesn't get as much as it, more than it did, because our big baddie, who we're going to meet in a few minutes, is a full-on raging jock asshole.
Yeah.
Which again, let's hit those cliches as hard as we can. Stoney comes in. He's driving Dave to school on his scooter, singing his theme song. I'm a stony, crusty dude. And then they see Matt. He is the played by Michael DeLuise,
Dom's son.
Dom's son, not Toretto's, but DeLuise's.
No, this isn't.
Can you imagine?
This isn't a baby.
Dom Toretto played by Dom DeLuise.
I'll tell you this
I'd watch
much.
that. Cannonball Run. It's a prequel.
Cannonball Run and the Furious.
So they scope out Robin and Matt. Of course, Matt is like making out with her, grabbing her butt and stuff like that. Dave again pining for the thing that he didn't go for because he didn't see it right there in front of his eyes. And Stoney starts giving him advice on how to get girls like Robin, and he shows him how to do the Matt walk. And I was like, he's walking like he pooped his pants.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think that's how he's walking.
Because he's supposed to be. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to mimic like an ape walk.
Yeah.
But it looks like it just looks like they both shat their pants. We don't have time to think about that though. No, we go to science class, and Tom Hanks' neighbor from The Burbs is their science teacher.
And he is like going on this anti-scientist rant.
Well, I don't know if is it that it's just that it's not so much that he's anti-science. He just thinks that there's theories about like ice flow still being active beneath the ground in Encino, and he thinks that's that's lame, that idea.
And of course, when he shows a picture of a caveman, one of the girls in class, is like, "Ooh," and then he even says like, "Oh no, these people were brutal. Like you would not want to be around this guy." And he would take anything. He would take anything he wanted by force, and that included his women. And she
hits on him.
She is into that.
Yeah, so much. I'm like, is she hitting on her teacher?
Why not? It's the 90s.
Because she's like right in his face. That's barbaric. Also, aptly played by Robin Tunney from The Mentalist.
Oh, okay. I knew she was in that. I was trying to place her.
I mean, after that, after she hits on her teacher, and they have this little skit in science class, don't we go back to like Dave's place, and he's digging the pool again. Stoney's talking, but Dave is essentially doing translating for us what Stoney is saying. Yeah,
and isn't this also where they find like a pre-Mysterian bowl?
Yes, and Stoney actually lays out exactly what it is, what it was used for, how it was made, and I'm thinking, is Stoney like an idiot savant? And then he says, "Don't you ever watch Jeopardy?"
I also think so he does actually mention Jeopardy, but I also think it's like that. It's kind of a trope where they have like a stoner character that's really into history.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he also says that it's preserved just like Smucker's.
Yes. There's a couple of things that old Stoney says that are questionable at best in this. They find that, but they also find the ice block dude, I believe, as they describe him.
And Dave immediately is like, money, money, money.
Well, he also says it could be Jimmy Hoffa, and Stoney says, or Jimmy Mahoney. He was a kid I knew in 3rd grade.
I also have a question. This is an overall question here, because as soon as he sees the caveman, he's like, money, 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 and I'm like, what's the money? Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not going to make any money. Whoever wants this person is just going to come in and take him. Like, they're not going to pay you. And it makes me think of, like, King Kong. When he brought King Kong to America and they put on that show and he's like, oh, man, I'm going to be so rich. I'm like, what's your show going to be every night? Just him standing there in chains while you talk? Guess what? Dwindling attendance, buddy.
Yeah. Also, he doesn't stick to this idea that they're going to use him to make money, because he's explaining that it's a caveman and we can use him to get famous and stuff like that. But then it like after this scene, they're like, we can't let people know who he is because they'll come and they'll take him away, and they'll get all the credit. Did you see in the background of the pool that there were cave drawings?
I did not.
There were behind when they first find the block of ice and they're kind of examining it and shuffling the dirt away. There's actually cave drawings on the dirt wall behind them, and I'm like, one, how are those perfectly preserved? Because he's been digging for nigh on months, I would say, given the progress he's done on this pool, and two, how did they not notice them?
Especially someone like Stoney, you think he'd be like, oh, wow, let me explain to you exactly where these come from.
Right. Not only does Dave try to convince Stoney that they're going to make a bunch of money, but they're also going to be super popular. Mm-hmm. And Stoney's like, I am popular. And Dave, the dickweed, says, yeah, you're popular. You travel in large groups of one. I'm like, dude, he's your friend. He's like your only friend. Don't be an asshole to your only friend.
And it's at this point, Nathan, that I have to give a take that surprises not only, I'm sure, everyone listening, but myself. Pauly Shore is actually kind of charming in this movie. I can't believe I'm saying that, But that's the way I felt. Like, especially it's definitely more. It's definitely the character too, and maybe it's just because Sean Astin is playing such a royal dickweed that the movie thinks we should root for him, which is crazy. But yeah, I kind of felt bad for him at times.
I think that's a big part of it, though. Also, the fact that he is not the main character in this movie.
That's a big help. Yes.
You know, he's supposed to be that, you know, lovable stoner sidekick, which really seems to be like, you know, that's what he should have kind of stayed in the pocket with, rather than trying to be like the lead in comedies.
It's kind of like how I feel about Rob Schneider, but
right
where he's like a supporting guy. I'm like, okay, well, as long as he's not playing a character in like some sort of face, which he's done many times, I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. That was a funny little scene. But when he's the lead in like The Animal or something like that, I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Of course, they take this block of ice into the garage, dust it all off. Stoney, for some reason, licks it. I don't know why. Licks a block of ice that's been buried under earth for eons. And they're like, okay, well, we're just going to set him up here to thaw out. Well, we're off to school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No muss, no fuss.
Right? And, okay, so this is where a lot of things where I remember I said before that I wasn't totally sure if these guys were actually as outcast or as misfitty as they were supposed to think they are, because Dave goes up, he talks to Robin, she talks to him, and they seem to have a decent enough rapport because, like I said, they've been friends for their whole life. Other than Matt, the bully, they don't get a whole lot of shit at school. In fact, when Stoney was driving through on his motorcycle, he was like waving to people, and people were like, "Hey, Stoney," and stuff like that. It's like, I don't think they're as outcast as we're supposed to believe they are. Of course, Matt sees Dave talking to Robin, and, you know, as, you know, a jock douchebag bully in high school in the 90s, he can't have someone talking to his girl.
No.
And proceeds to staple gun Dave to the wall. And
he's stuck there, which I wanna just debate that for a second.
Right? How many staples did he use?
And even even if he did use a bunch of staples, like, he's wearing like a shirt that you put over yourself. Just take it off.
Yeah. And there's even afterwards when Matt pulls a fire alarm, and there's no repercussions for pulling a false fire alarm apparently in Encino High School. Dave starts to like move and jerk about like he's trying to get himself free. I feel like any sort of force from those staples would have popped those things free pretty quickly, and he would have fallen down. And then he says, "You should try some more pump. It might help with your acne. It won't help with your backney, but it'll help with your acne." And then we get a close-up on Dave's face. He doesn't have a zit to be seen.
He doesn't have acne.
No. They didn't even bother to put any makeup zits on him.
Or just change the line, like...
Right? And, of course, you know, that sketch is done. And we flash over.
Yeah, we go to a commercial break, and then
the commercial break.
Brendan Fraser says, "We'll be right back."
We come back into Dave's garage, and old Stoney, not Stoney, Link, yet to be named that though, is shown thawing out, and we see Sideshow Brendan Fraser because he walks into a rake and gets hit in the face.
I have that exact note. Sideshow Bob Rake. Yep. He also looks like he has some of that terracotta soldier in his hair.
A little bit, yeah, because he's filthy, and well, he would have been filthy before he fell into the ice chasm, right?
Right.
Not a whole lot of hot showers in the ice age.
just looked like someone pooped in his hair.
Right.
A lot of butt muscles. We get a lot of butt.
Well, I'll tell you, man, you get, you know, early 90s Brendan Fraser, you're gonna show that butt.
I'm just gonna say
school ties.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it made me question a lot of things.
As young Brendan Fraser should. He's yelling at helicopters, attacking mailmen, drinking ditch water, and then he goes to attack a garbage truck because he thinks it's a mechanical woolly mammoth.
Which we also get a woolly mammoth sound effect as well.
Yep.
Just in case people didn't know what he was doing. he sees a band on TV, and I wrote down, does he become the singer in Airheads?
Well, that'll have to be a debate for another day, because
Airheads, one day.
it was someday. Yeah. I noted again the sweet pre-grunge soundtrack, because he flicks onto MTV. At that time, MTV was still showing music videos, and there is, I think, what he flips on, there's a Sacred Reich video on, and then he cuts away from that to I don't remember the name. There was one of those jock jam type. The dance music at the time was really quite heavily inspired by almost like an Aborigine style of music. So he gets into that.
But then my favorite thing he flips to.
What's that?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh no, it's Terminator 1. That's T1.
Oh,
that's the cop scene
right.
in Terminator 1.
Right. I think I just wrote down T2 because I was like, oh, that came out the same year. But yeah, no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then he goes all quest for fire in Dave's room.
Yeah.
Stoney and Dave have come home at this point, and they think that he melted. Like along with the ice, the caveman melted as well.
Yep.
And Stoney, being a good friend, wants to cheer Dave up and says he'll buy him some ho-hos.
Right.
Stoney is too good of a friend for Dave. I'm just gonna say that.
Dave does not deserve Stoney.
No, he does not.
He's not a geek. He's a unique weasel.
Buddy. How'd you like that sound effect?
Oh yeah, that was every single time that happened, I was so happy. Especially when they do it in unison. So good.
Right?
Oh yeah. The best.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say they find him in the room, and Link, Brendan Fraser, is very freaked out because the phone rings, as you would be, having never heard what a phone is.
Mm-hmm.
And then every way to say that he's a stoner without saying that he's a stoner, because this is PG, because Paulie takes out his
lighter.
Weed lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, flamage. And it calms Link down.
And apparently the continuity director took like a long break for these scenes, because the height of that flame changes with every shot.
Perfect.
Also, it's a Bic disposable. Usually with those, the regulator is not, you can't get to the regulator. It's something that's inside, hidden by the metal piece on it. And I don't know what Stoney did. He must have tinker with it, because the flame on that Bic lighter is far too large.
Yeah, it was like a Zippo flame on a Bic lighter.
Yeah. Super tall.
Which is not as good as Superbad.
No,
that was
the
the Friedberg parody movie.
where they tried to do like a Wilt Chamberlain biopic. Yeah, they're smart enough to make that movie.
God, it would just be people farting and falling down for fucking 80 minutes.
They do manage to calm down only with the fire. He also likes jumping on the bed, because who can resist jumping on a bed? Yeah. And they say they're gonna have to clean him up. And we get this weird fashion makeover type montage, but it's really just a montage about them giving him a bath.
A bath.
And
they give him a shave.
I'm pretty sure that some of the stuff they dumped into the tub was actually legitimately corrosive to human skin.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask that too, because originally they're looking for soap, and they just put a bunch of cleaning products in there, and I'm like, that's not okay.
Nope, that's not all right. We get to see the like you said, they give him a shave and the haircut, 2 bits, and then they show the aftermath of the bathtub, and I'm like, yep, I got a kid like that. And they deck him out, and he looks like a SoCal ska scene kid. He's got the not jorts, because they're not jeans, but they definitely go down past his knee. He's got that vest thing going on, the ramen hair thing, and he looks like he would be really into like No Doubt.
But then, Nathan, the parents come home, because right before the parents came home, I actually did write the note and then deleted it because I was like, okay, the movie's acknowledging this, but I actually wrote, where the hell are the parents?
Yeah. Well, we do find out that mom and dad are kind of workaholics
Yeah.
because
And stupid. Very stupid.
they're very dumb parents. Yes. I also noted this, that this all this premise is really it's fun and quirky, but he'd be dead within like a week by like just catching the common cold or a flu.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because his immune system would be nothing.
It wouldn't, compared to what what he would be used to dealing with versus modern diseases of the time.
Yeah. And
So.
they Dave tells his parents, don't you remember? We were going to have an exchange student stay here. This is Linkovich Chamovsky.
From Estonia.
Yeah, from Estonia. And then the father is like, oh yeah, no, I think I remember. Honey, we remember, right? Trying to be like good parents or whatever, but also like just really dumb. Really dumb.
Well, they also kind of he can dupe them easily, but I think it's because, again, like they're workaholics who don't pay a whole hell of a lot of attention to their kids, because he actually has, like, I don't know, for like the lack of a better term, case law where he cites the fact that his parents constantly forget him.
Yeah.
Like, he's been left at school and soccer practices and dentist office and stuff like that. Just like they are constantly forgetting that they have kids. So, you know what? That seems like they'd be easily duped for that.
The sister immediately is like, this is bullshit, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, she's the only smart member of the family.
Right. We find out that Stoney's real name is Stanley.
Yes.
Link harasses the dog, and we, that sketch ends, and then we go to Dave's room where Link is ogling like a girly poster that Dave has up on the wall, and they start using. I'd never heard anybody use the term Betty to describe a girl.
No.
Before or after this movie.
Unless the girl's name was Betty.
Well, no, but then that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
they
I know.
say, I've heard people say, like, oh, she's some tomato.
Right.
I've heard that, but I've never heard, oh, that's some Betty. Hey?
That was from your time growing up in Little Italy in Ontario.
Right, yeah.
You hung out with Hayden Christensen, Emma Roberts.
They're admiring the form of the girl in the poster. They use the word nugs. Again, never heard it before or after to describe breasts. And then Stoney just goes out of his way and gets a completely wrong word. He calls the boobs mighty cones. I'm assuming they're trying to slip in the mighty cone. The gay slur.
Oh.
That's why I have like, that's not what that word means, Stoney. That's the actual note that I have there.
Yeah, he also says those pajamas are kind of flaming.
Cow pajamas, buddy. Those are kind of flaming.
Yeah, the couch. Those cow pajamas are cool. Stoney, you can shut up.
Yeah. I just picked up, I was like, is that a gay joke? Or is it just like flaming? Okay, I don't know.
Is it? Are they? Maybe he thinks they're hot. I don't know.
Maybe.
They take a selfie, proving that those things existed long before cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
And that sketch ends, and then we go to school the next day.
Yeah, and
where
then Brendan
we
Fraser comes out and says, ladies and gentlemen, in excess.
Right. Michael Hutchinson comes on, sings a song, doesn't kill himself with autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah, Weekend Update comes on, and yeah, okay.
We come back, and they go to school, and Link has a hard time with windows, walks into doors because, it's glass. We see that Rose McMeowan is there, and her and her friend, who I think we see them like twice in the movie.
Yeah, she's not in very much. She definitely has the hots for Link, though.
But I think that it's done to set up that both girls think he's, they're both warm to his form. And I think it's supposed to set up the idea that who's this, mysterious, attractive foreign exchange student hanging out with the two nerdy guys.
Who's this mysterious, foreign exchange super grabby, sexually aggressive student that's hanging out with you dorks. He's so hot and perfect that he keeps grabbing my tits against my will, and he's staying with you nerds.
Link spots not Robin, but Robin Tunney.
Yes.
So figure that one out. Robin's not playing Robin.
Oh. It's not Chris
and
O'Donnell either.
Nope. He does a handstand on the second floor balcony of the school. Oh, I thought it was kind of interesting. The mascot for the school were the Mammoths. He he does a flip off this after doing the handstand. I don't know where that comes from because we didn't get to see him doing any sort of real athletic crazy stuff in the Ice Age scenes.
No, and it's like they just assumed that because he's obviously in ridiculous shape because he's Brendan Fraser in 1992, that they're just like, yeah, he's also super athletic, and it is weird because you're like, what? Okay.
And then I actually note his shins would be destroyed the way he landed.
Yeah. Now, if this was George of the Jungle, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally. That makes sense. He's jumping around and doing that stuff. But yeah, in this one, it's a little out of place.
He, of course, like you said, presses up against Robin Tunney. Kind of goes to grab her boobs. Thankfully, Dave and Stoney stop him from committing sexual assault.
Yep.
That sketch ends, and then we go to class where he's doing caveman drawings on the chalkboard, and he draws a caveman wang.
I missed that.
Oh yeah, no, because they kind of pan into the classroom, and there's like it's like, you know, the typical high school stuff like projects and teachers would put up whatever you're studying at that point. That's up on the wall, so if you're standing in line waiting to go out of the classroom, you can kind of see the stuff, subconsciously learn.
Yeah.
And it's all about caveman drawings. And then they say they're panning over, and there's Link doing caveman drawings with chalk, and he's drawn like a hunting scene, and there's a cave woman there, and he's drawn in the boobs, and then he kind of looks back at the caveman, and then just draws a straight line down between the legs.
Is this also where we get they're in a class and they all have like headsets on, like they're listening?
No, that's Spanish class. That's up next.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we get another bit of no teens talked like this in '93 when Robin Tunney, not Robin the girlfriend, says that she thinks that he's jive.
Yeah.
But like in a like that's supposed to be slang for hot.
Again, I don't think it is.
Matt has taken notice too, because I think he feels his perceived throne of being the hottest guy in school is being usurped by this new exchange student, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Spanish class.
Yeah, and they're wearing headsets. And I get why that's set up. Like I think the teacher, I'm assuming the teacher is the teacher talking into their headset?
I don't know if she's talking into it or if the idea is that they're supposed to speak it back into them, because those headsets have a microphone on them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's supposed to be like a Duolingo type thing where the whatever software that they're using with this registers what they're saying and, kind of shows out the accuracy.
It just came across. It was just a little weird. Maybe it's just super 90s and I'm just not familiar with it, but it didn't look like something I'd ever done.
No, and it's just a little, but again, they go to a pretty rich school apparently because they got Infectious Groove to play the senior prom.
And is this where Robin Tunney is like super hitting on Link?
Yeah, because she tells Stoney to bring him to Blades.
He's like, "Can we come too?"
And then she's like, "You stink." And the teacher slaps him, and the sketch ends. And then we go to the 7-Eleven where Eric, what's his name?
Eric Avari.
Eric Avari playing an only slightly more dignified role than the one he had in Postal.
Yeah. So Just a little shit plug here. If you want to check out the interview with Eric Avari over at Everything I Learned from Movies, I only pointed out because, I mean, obviously, friends of the show, but I also pointed out because this was like the one movie he was like, we could just move on to the next one. Not super proud of this basically stereotype role, which I can't blame the guy.
Stoney and Link are there, and they are heating up a burrito and wheezing the juice.
Wheezing a little juice.
Which, not slang that was used, but I feel this is slang specifically designed by and used exclusively by Stoney, because he's the wheeze as in he's weaseling. He yells out to the guys running the place, how long do you put these burritos on for? They tell him 2 different times. He puts it on for like a minute and a half. It's frozen in the middle, and they say 2 minutes, as in it was like, I was right, you were wrong.
Yeah.
He is introducing Link to the 4 basic food groups, and it's all like candy and beef jerky and stuff like that.
Again, maybe he's also a heroin addict because he's getting a lot of sweets.
Well, it's just got the munchies.
Maybe. I'm just saying. I'm worried for the guy.
Well, he's also, I mean, probably also loading up for their trip to the amusement park.
Yes,
because that happens next, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, they go to the theme park, and it's Stone Cold Crazy by Queen is playing. This is all a montage. Them just having a great time at, I'm pretty sure it's like, they actually call it Mega Mountain. So I was really surprised there was no showdown with Hulk Hogan and the Three Ninjas.
No Lonnie Anderson, no Jim Varney.
No, which, missed opportunity. I mean, really. This doesn't really... It doesn't serve really much of a purpose, this scene, except to show that Stoney and Link are actually getting along really well and being good friends versus, Dave, who's, again, just trying to use Link to, glom off for popularity.
He's horrible.
Yes.
Now, I will say there is so after this, when they do get to Dave's house, there is a weird line that Stoney says, is when they're all sitting at the table and he's like, hey, he's like talking to like Dave's dad, and he's like, one day your daughter and I could get married and we could all be a family. And I'm like, that daughter is a lot younger. That is a weird thing to say.
That was a really weird thing to say. I actually noted that too. Yikes with the whole daughter marriage. And then Dave's dad asks him, how's your mother? She's really bummed. Like, he doesn't explain why she's bummed, but she's just really bummed.
Yeah, she's just really bummed. And then Link just starts like, he goes after a fly. He's eating out of the same dish as the dog. At this point, I'm like, these parents, I think at some point need to be like, all right, guys, this guy needs to go.
You would think, but nope. And Stoney yells "meat group" when he eats the fly.
Right.
That sketch comes to an end, and we go to Blades. And they got Vince Neil playing them in to Blades. You're invited, but your friend can't come. Name of the song.
Yeah,
Jack.
A little
Go
on
ahead.
the nose, just a bit.
Right. This is where Dave gets tripped up by the 2 skater guys. One aptly played by Jack Noseworthy.
Yep. So, Nathan, this might have been one of the weirdest things I think Dave said to Robin in the movie.
Oh, Dave, so goddamn awkward.
He says he has a picture and he says, hey, Robin, don't forget we've been naked together, and it's them as kids. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yep.
What the fuck is that?
Yep.
Link is there making art on the glass with condiments, just being a fun, fancy-free guy, and you're like, hey, we've been naked together as kids. Maybe we should bone. What are you doing?
Robin Tunney is still trying to get in with Link, asking who the girl that he's drawing is. He says it's Betty Nuggs.
Yeah.
His girlfriend from Estonia, I guess. That's what she thinks. And then, of course, Matt sees Dave talking to Robin and has to stop playing hockey. Again, I don't ever remember, like, as a teenager in the mid 90s, getting together at what is essentially a roller rink, but for ice hockey.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think like a rollerblade place, maybe.
Probably would have made a lot more sense, especially in the mid 90s, because rollerblading was huge then.
Yeah.
But no, they go to an actual like ice rink where people are like skating and playing hockey and stuff. And
It's like they rented it too, because like no one else outside of the characters that we needed to be there were there.
Well, no, I'm assuming it's almost like a gathering spot for the teens, because it's got a big neon sign called Blades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any of the arenas around here is like the Stu Hurley Arena, the Gordon Corman Arena.
Yeah, real exciting.
No big neon signs or piped in Vince Neil music. And it's at this point where I ask myself, how bad does Matt's dad beat him?
Yeah, he has a lot of pent-up rage.
He really does. Link has discovered Radmobile. I've never seen that game. I've never played it.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what that video game was either.
It was just a racing game. Maybe they couldn't get the rights to Outrun or something.
I mean, with the budget, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, or didn't want to get the rights to Outrun.
Right. But yeah, then Link comes up and Matt socks him in the face.
And then, also, if this is supposed to be a gathering place for teens, where's the security in this place?
That's what I mean. Did they rent the place? Does someone own it? Like, what's
I still feel that the person who owns it would have had to have people there to observe, so to make sure nothing gets, nothing untoward happens.
But also, like, when he socks Link and Link does nothing back, someone says he's a pacifist.
A pacifist caveman.
Yeah, it's almost like a poignant moment in the movie, because even Stoney says, Link doesn't need to fight unless he's fighting for food or survival. He doesn't feel the need to be cool, so he doesn't have to do the same thing that like you or I would have to do. And I was like, that's like kind of deep for this stupid movie.
Yep. Yeah. There's little nugs hidden away in there, and I don't mean that in the breasticle type way.
Wow.
But they take this now that they realize they have to teach Link how to fight. So the first thing they show him is Dino Bravo versus Jobby McJobberson.
Was that what it was? I thought it was Rugged Ronnie Garvin.
No, that was Dino Bravo.
Okay.
I could tell by the blue trunks.
I was gonna say they look kind of similar at the time.
Yeah, and just some jobber because it was Wrestling Challenge. They show some kung fu, and then boxing match. I don't know if it was Ollie and Fraser or somebody else, but just so he can get an idea of how to box or how to fight in no real way whatsoever. All this is set to Wooly Bully, or cover of Wooly Bully anyways. That sketch comes to an end, and we go back to school the next day, and Data from the Goonies is inviting Link to be part of the computer club.
Oh, I was gonna say that Matt was being racist to Short Round.
He was, that too.
Yeah.
They go on don't they go on a field trip now? And,
To the Natural History Museum.
Yeah, and Link starts putting it all together and gets quite upset.
Yes, because he goes over to he learns about where he's from, and then he goes over and starts crying, and
he's trying to start a fire, and he goes back to the cave scene, almost like he's regressing to like wanting to go home, and he's trying to start a fire in the cave again.
But then it turned out that he didn't start the fire.
No, but it was actually always burning since the world's been turning.
Yeah,
he didn't light it, but he will try to fight it.
Pop culture references.
Mm-hmm. We don't have too much time to think about that because that sketch ends, and we have a driver's ed segment here where the driver's ed teacher is just a dummy.
Also a fucking dickhole.
Right? Like, he says, Robin's there, and he's like, again, and she's like, I just can't get this. I just can't get the parallel parking thing, which is a perfectly fine thing to say. He says, wait, it's not a thing. It's not a state of mind. It's not one of your disco dances. And I'm like, how old are you, dude?
It reminds me, there's a movie called Happy Go Lucky, and the driving instructor in that is kind of like that, but like amped up a few degrees. But in that movie, he's got severe emotional problems, and that's part of that character. So in this movie, it's just like, wait, so that's just a normal driving instructor? Okay.
Link is also in this driver's ed class for some reason. I don't know why. Because I feel like I thought Stoney and Dave had like this system worked out where they were looking after him. Like Stoney would go to Spanish with him, and Dave would go to like, science class with him, and then they would both be at lunch together, and then Stoney would be somewhere with him, and then Dave would be somewhere with him. How he ended up in driver's ed on his own is beyond me.
They're terrible babysitters.
I think it's plot convenience because we have to set up this Radmobile thing because he sees the car and he automatically thinks Radmobile and just like starts tearing ass around the campus, driving on 2 wheels. And so Dave and Stoney, they see this and they go out to try to stop him. They end up in the car with him, and then they take the whole thing out into the street. And by the time it was all over, Link was a better parallel parker than Ace Ventura.
He does it very quickly too.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And then they go into a bar, at which point I'm like, okay, they're supposed to be in high school, right?
It's also like 3 p.m, and that bar is bumping. It's the hottest happening spot at 3 p.m. in Encino.
But the thing is, they go in there and like no one even like blinks that they're in there.
Stoney makes friends with a bunch of, I don't know if they're gangsters or not.
I don't know. I was like, are these supposed to be like the Latin Kings or something?
Hola, mi amigos. Is it okay if I just chill upon here? Orale. Orale. You want to be a man, is she? Eventually, yeah. But I'm almost there. Look at my patch, bro. Whoa. Macho. This is tequila, right? Hey, wait, where's the worm?
The worm's right there, is she?
I'm a weasel.
A weasel, eh?
Yeah.
You wanna be a man, weasel? You wanna be a man, is she? Then drink like a hombre. That's
No,
right,
I can't.
is she?
No, I'm not.
showing us
I'm going to play
disrespect, Mom?
foosball. Ah, you guys up.
That's disrespectful, weasel. Be a man, is she? Come on, drink it up. Let's go. Drink like a man, is she? You can do it, is she? Bottoms up, eh? You can do it, weasel. Ándale. Come on, is she?
He like shows them his chest hair to show that he's a man. They drink with him. They're like, Weasel, Weasel, Weasel. And I actually noted, in reality, he would be brutally beaten and sold into prostitution.
100%. And he's a little cutie, so he'd probably make a killing. But I do think that this scene between Paulie and the like Latino, I guess, I don't know if they're supposed to be a gang or not, but those guys, is actually kind of funny. Like I actually kind of liked it.
It's a great skit. There is an excellent point made here because Robin, again, like I said, it's a hip happening dance spot at 3 p.m. in Encino. She wants to dance because there's some fantastic music playing, and Dave doesn't want to do it. And she's like, Dave, you're just too uptight. And so she goes and she ends up dancing with like Link and a bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then apparently it's nighttime later, and
so they were there for like 6 hours.
Robin gets a ride home from the Latin guys in a lowrider. Link drinks a bowl of salsa, and it's real salsa too. You can tell by the way he reacts. It's some good salsa.
I thought he tried to eat candle wax. That's what I wrote.
Oh
down.
no, it was a bowl. It was a bowl of salsa.
Okay.
And we also get a little thing from the head of the Latin crew that Stoney was hanging out with, who basically says, "You see that girl over there? Don't look at her. She's my girl. If I catch anybody looking at my girl, that man will no longer be recognizable as a man." And then of course Link immediately lifts her up. He's dancing with her and doing stuff with her. They come over to yell at him. The leader is gonna kill them because he touched his girl and stuff. And then Link utters perfect Spanish. I mean, perfect in that he says the cheese is old and moldy. Where's the bathroom? Which is what he learned when he was in class.
Which is like a callback in this movie, and I was like, oh wow, wait, this isn't a collection of sketches anymore. We actually are referring to earlier scenes in the movie.
This gets the leader of the crew laughing, basically saying, "You're right, she's not worth it, man." And then she shows up and slaps him for not getting into a fight with this guy who touched her. They have a strange relationship.
Well, I mean, she heard him say...
I bet they have a lot of angry makeup sex.
She did hear him say that she's not worth it, so...
Right, and he agreed that her cheese was old and moldy.
Yeah, she definitely heard that part.
They get busted because the cops show up, and everyone except for Link and Dave get away. And Robin gets her ride home with Stoney and the Latin guys who are now talking exactly like Stoney. Matt's there, and he's there to give her grief for getting a ride home with these Latin guys. He's like, a nice element you're hanging out with. Who are your friends in the lowrider? Which means he's kind of maybe possibly low-key racist. I mean... Oh,
I don't think it's possible. I think it's definite.
She basically tells Matt to piss off because she's kind of had it up to here with his with all of his stuff, because not only did he grab Dave at Blades and do his whole thing with the headlock and the noogies, he also punched Link. He's being very possessive, and she's just kind of fed up with it. And my note here was like, yeah, Matt, piss off. Because I really wanted him to leave too. I don't really care much for Dave either, but I don't like Matt.
I don't think, if anything between everyone, it's a choice between Stoney and Link. I wouldn't be with Matt or Dave.
Yeah, no, they're both because they're both chill dudes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, speaking of Dave being a total shit and an idiot, he uses his one phone call in prison.
Not a thing. Just want everybody to know that's not a thing. And he gets his phone call, and he uses this one phone call to call Robin and ask her to the prom. Not a lawyer or his parents. He gets rejected.
I was gonna say, when you say ask, you mean I'm using my one phone call to ask you to go to the prom with me. Will you just say yes?
Yeah, I feel that if this movie was made today, Dave would be an incel on 4chan all the time,
posting about how women are worse. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then she says, like, no, you know what? Don't take any offense to it by it, Dave, but like, I kind of want to go to the prom with Link. And he's just like, oh, fuck that, and just hangs up. And then
so much so that when they get out, he tries to Harry and the Hendersons Link.
He drives into the middle of nowhere and is about to just leave him there.
With like a pocket full of quarters so he could play Radmobile.
That's crazy.
And the real hero of the piece, Stoney, shows up to call him out for being an absolute blue vein dick.
And they have this the requisite like buddy comedy breakup scene where they're fighting. But then the movie can't even really do that right, because Link immediately breaks it up and they're immediately like, oh, we're cool now. Like, there's no period of time where they do get it's another callback. I know you weren't expecting it, but when he was losing his shit at the Natural History Museum, Stoney and Dave were kind of consoling him and saying that, we're in your new family now, man. It sucks that all your old family's gone because it's been centuries, but we're your new family now. We won't leave you. We're your friends. We're your family. And then Link breaks up the fight between the two of them, and the only thing he can say is family over and over again. I know what you're thinking. Remake this with Vin Diesel as the caveman.
Nope. Brendan Fraser or nothing. I should also note that it's not, he doesn't just say the word family. He does talk like Stoney, because Stoney teaches him how to talk during that montage at Mega Mountain.
Yeah. And at this point, Dave is like getting Link ready for the prom, and I'm like, okay, so are we supposed to think he's such a great guy because he's like, all right, I'll help you get ready for the prom, but he also like gets Link ready and then looks at him and is like, don't touch her or I'll murder you.
Right. And so again, Dave being still a possessive dink, and sends her. He actually says, "Man, she smells so good."
Yeah. He's so gross. And he has zero right to be like, you can't be with her.
Right? Yeah, because that's absolutely right. All the while this is going on, Matt just decides he's gonna break and enter to Dave's place.
Oh shit, some conflict?
Yeah, Matt breaks in and he goes all Jerry Lewis. He trips over the hammock that they've got Link sleeping in, and all whilst doing this, he managed to find the Polaroids of Link when they found him in the ice block, and how he's thawed out what he looked like before they cleaned him up and everything. And he puts it together that, oh, he's a caveman. He's like, I gotcha. I'm like, what? Gotcha what?
Yeah,
Honest
what do you
to
got?
God, this is like the worst gotcha moment in cinema history.
I'm like, we're an hour and 20 minutes into this movie. What did you get?
Yeah, right? And Stoney and Dave, who aren't going to prom, they're enjoying a nice little drink of champagne by the non-pool. And they hear the ruckus. They go in, just in time for Matt to speed away, which also tells me that there's no laws against breaking and entering in Encino. Just like there's no laws against pulling false fire alarms. He goes to the dance because Matt's got this idea that he's a concerned citizen, and he's gonna let all the students at the school know what's really going on. And he does that ever endearing shush thing that he does several times throughout the movie, which is just the worst.
Luckily, though, he's trying to show them all, and the students don't give a shit.
Right, because he's like, he's a caveman, and they erupt with cheers. And he's like, no, he's a freak. You're supposed to hate him and stuff like that. Of course, right at this time, Dave shows up. He wants his pictures back, and Matt just decks him one, which sends a Link into action with all of his Dino Bravo kung fu movie boxing match fighting skills. But this, just before that happens, though, that's where you get the one other F-bomb in this movie. Which...
And the gong sound effect when Link bows.
Yeah. Well, that's how you know he's going to do martial arts.
Right. Oh, the airplane spins Matt into some cake. Stoney pours some Kool-Aid on top.
And ladies and gentlemen, Infectious Grooves! And they're going to lead a dance number.
Yeah.
So... I guess Infectious Grooves was the musical guest that week.
And then Dave is all like, hey, there's only one more thing I want to show you, Robin. And they start kissing, and I'm like, no.
That happens at the after party, because they go back to Dave's non-pool, and he's like he's the king of prom, baby, because everybody wants to go to his place, despite the fact that there are like 6 houses around him that have pools, and more than likely one of the students going to that high school lives in that neighborhood as well.
Yep.
And they're not getting the deposit back on those tuxedos, because there are people jumping into that filthy pool of standing water. They all have so many diseases. Oh, okay, yeah, and also what happened here, and we find out that as Stoney and Dave were running away to try to stop Matt, there was another earthquake. And Link's girlfriend apparently was unearthed and thawed out in record time without the aid of heating devices, which they used for Stoney, which took an entire day at school. And they show her in the bath. Link jumps in. He's reunited with his girlfriend, and then they give her, the same makeover that they gave to Link.
And Nathan, I've got a question for you. And I mean, I didn't recognize her either, so I won't blame you if you didn't. But did you recognize who this lady was?
I did not.
Sandra Hess, a.k.a. the villain from a movie we covered a long time ago. That would be Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh my god. So that's 2 times for her.
Yep. And probably the last.
We do get a quasi mid credit or post credit where Stoney just pops his head in with the sunglasses and says, "I'll be back."
I'll say this, better closing joke than last week's movie.
Fair. At least there was actually somebody on there and it wasn't some stupid title card. I actually, when I was watching this, I was listening to, because the Vince Neil tune was on, and then I wanted to listen to some more of the music from the movie. So I've got most of the soundtrack, most of the credits rather, and while I'm listening to the soundtrack, they apparently released a tie-in book to this called Stoney's Notebook. And it was almost like not a novelization of the movie, but like a guide to being a teenager in the world that Encino Man is set in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was Encino Man, also known as California Man. So I'm gonna ask you, like I did last week, man. Was this a worth a watch, a drunk watch with friends? Are you going to avoid do some head trauma to forget about it, or are you going to avoid it like the plague?
Despite the fact that I was shocked in this movie that I actually found Pauly Shore tolerable, and despite the fact that I do like Brendan Fraser, I mean I do love Brendan Fraser. At the same time, it's barely a movie, and it just kind of goes, sketch to sketch with varying degrees of success. I really don't like Sean Astin's character. I honestly would attempt head trauma.
Okay, that's fair. I'm definitely going to say that it is a drunk watch with friends, especially my friends, because they're all of about the same age, and many of them would have seen it as well. So we not only will we be able to get drunk and have a fun time making fun of it, but we would also have a ton of nostalgia and probably end up like watching Terminator 2 or something afterwards.
There you go.
Anytime I get the nostalgia hit from the 90s, one of the first things I always want to do is watch Terminator 2. So yeah, that's it. That's our take on it. Those are our ratings for it. So if you guys just give us a few minutes, hold on to your seats. There's some ads coming up so we can pay some bills. We will be right back.
What were they thinking?
And we're back.
A dinosaur story.
Still hasn't arrived.
Not yet. Not yet.
But we are now taking time out to bring some culture to a podcast. And it's time for the low haiku. And Brendan, what is the low haiku?
Well, the low haiku consists of 17 syllables, breaking down the film we just spent a lot more than 17 syllables talking about.
Yes, correct. And I know that I've been the lead on the last one and this one, but I'm going to take the lead on this one as you went first last time. So, Okay. My first BF flick. Wheezing on some grindage. Dave is penis.
Accurate. All right. Aston. Man. Douchage. Some major plottage missing. Hey, Brendan Fraser.
Very good, and it also brings it around to the most important part of the movie.
It's the Fraser Fest. It's the double header. It's the BF. I got nothing.
Okay, well that's really good because we're actually gonna get on out of here. Get out of that NPR headspace.
Right now.
Hooah! Take a flamethrower to this place. I don't.
Wow.
Pacino.
Everywhere.
Well, you know what? We've kind of had our say on this, and you know, had our little haikus or low haikus, and talked about how it maybe didn't necessarily hold up as well as I'd hoped it would. But you know, with that, we don't want you guys to think that you have to listen to everything that we have to say. So it's at this point where we always say, what is it we always say?
Well, we always say.
Don't take a word for us.
That's right. Don't take our word for it.
Don't. I
no.
dare you not to.
But again, yeah, you might, because it's not looking good for Encino Man on Rotten Tomatoes. What are they? What are the critics saying on this one, bud?
It's looking pretty dire here, bud. 17% of the critics appreciated this little film.
Okay, and I think the bloom's probably off the rose in regards to Pauly Shore at this day and age. But what does the audience have to say?
Well, I mean, rotten, but over half, 56% of the audience liked it, 100,000 plus ratings.
So it's a university pass.
Just want to tell you as well, Nathan, much like you told us last week, if you like this movie, you might also like the film My Favorite Martian,
Oof.
Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, the Francis Ford Coppola movie Jack, Black Sheep, which has a huge disparity between audience and critics.
That really is.
And of course, not the Brady Bunch movie, but a very Brady sequel.
Not a one of them rated fresh, except for Black Sheep, but that's only with the audience.
Oh, with the audience on Black Sheep, yeah.
Well, let's get into what the critics had to say about this movie that I loved as a youngster, but questioned quite thoroughly as an oldster.
Harsh take here. Malcolm Johnson of the Hartford Courant says, the strongest contender imaginable for the worst picture of the summer.
Oof. I don't know. 92. I think there's a lot of crap in that year.
Yeah. I mean, this is not as good as like Point Break, but I'm sure there were worse movies in the summer of 92.
David Newser from Real Film Reviews, he wrote ... watchable, yet somehow disappointing. It's a fresh review, though. 2.5 out of 4.
Maybe he was expecting a 6 out of 4.
I guess.
He thought he saw Orson Welles was the director, and he was disappointed. By the way, yes, please give me an Orson Welles like teen comedy. Orson Welles as the teen. All right. Brian Orndorff of BrianOrndorff.com. R.I.P. Mr. Wonderful, by the way.
Yep.
Encino Man is frighteningly dated, but it was never made to be timeless. I just wish the picture had more laughs or instinctive madness.
Okay. Steve Crum from the Kansas City Kansan. What a
Wow.
What a brilliantly named publication.
Yeah, you want to workshop that one a little bit?
He wrote, dumb, dumb, dumb. Did someone say Pauly Shore? 1 out of 5.
Coming hard on Pauly Shore. All right, I'll read one
Gross.
more here. Well, when in Rome. One more here from Karen James of the New York Times. She says, the real question is whether Dave and Stoney and Link are worthy heirs to Bill and Ted or Wayne and Garth. Not really.
Oh, well, there is that dynamic. Okay. Yeah. Well, my last one comes from the late, great Ken Hankey from the Mountain Express out of Asheville, North Carolina. And
sure, he loved it.
We would not have been on the same page back in the day. Ken simply writes, there is no excuse. 0 out of 5.
0. Ooh. All right. Should we dive into the pit? Into the unfinished pool?
Yes. Let's. Oh, before we do, I will let you know that there was a quasi sequel to this that was made for TV called Encino Woman, but it had really nothing to do with a continuation of the story. It just had the same plot elements.
And it had Paula Shore and Shauna Astin.
And Brenda Fraser.
Right. So this first one is from Sarah O, and gives it 3.5 out of stars. She says, they absolutely need a sequel to this, LOL. Brandon Fraser is gold. This is such a, quote, blast from the past, winky face, LOL. I just watched it, and it brought me back to when we used to rent this all of the time. I love the cast and the 90s silliness. Fun watch if you grew up with it. Probably not if you didn't. Haha.
We just bootlegged it. That's how I saw it so many times. Garrett D, I can only assume that's Garrett Delahunt, from Raising Hope. He writes, the embracement of its stupidity is a perfect match for both Fraser and Shore, who is actually quite compared to some of his other movies, and carries its unique but admittedly shallow premise. It's very flawed, cheesy, and formulaic, but Encino Man screams 90s in just about every aspect. For that, I have a soft spot for it.
I thought he was just saying someone had a unique butt for a second.
Well, we did see Brendan Fraser's. It is one of a kind.
Yeah.
I'm also on this. I'm on the same page with Garrett. Despite the fact that the movie does not hold up, it still has a soft spot in my heart.
Well, Scott W gives it 4 out of stars. He says, this movie is so funny for fans of the ridiculous aspects of the early 90s. Pauly Shore at his Pauly Shreest. It was my favorite Father's Day gift this year.
What? Okay.
His other one was Biodome, so I mean it's not like it's tough competition.
Michael M, I'm assuming it's Michael Madsen. He writes, I'm still wondering what our fascination was with Pauly Shore from 92 to 95. But it all started here. Mild comedy at best that really hasn't aged well. 3 out of stars.
You gonna bark all day, Encino Man? You gonna bite? All right. Philip E gives it full score, 5 out of stars.
Oh, okay.
This was a good movie. Growing up in the 90s, I found enjoying the silly comedies that Pauly Shore portrayed. I'm just reading it like it's written. Others might not like it, and that's your opinion, but I'm sure that some of these critics tell me one of their favorite movies, I would probably say I don't like it. I see the point of critics. I think he meant to say I don't. If you don't like the movie, then don't like the movie. I don't care why you don't. I say if you like a movie or want to see a movie, then go see. And if you don't want to, then don't. I'm not going to just not see a movie just because a critic doesn't like it. It's like saying if you don't like a certain critic, then share with us and we won't read their post. And then if you like them, we will read it. Critics, keep your opinions to yourselves. A lot of people don't really care what you have to say. I think then the meaning that he was going for got lost there somewhere.
I think so. I mean,
I got lost myself just reading that.
How do you say keep your criticisms to yourself while writing your critique of a movie?
Don't listen to critics except for me.
Right. Well, my next one comes from Nicholas C. I can only assume it's Nicolas Cage.
Oh boy.
And he writes, one word, phenomenal. 5 out of stars.
No fire. Actually, there was some fire. He would have liked that.
There was? Yeah.
Cass G also gives a 5 out of stars.
Is he big?
Oh. He's a bit soft.
Oh. Are you going to spell it out for us?
SAWFT.
Soft.
Noted Donald Trump supporter Big Cass says, I mean... It's true. I have seen a little of this movie on TV, and it was hilariously funny due to the time it was filmed, and I enjoyed most parts of it that I saw, and also Brendan Fraser is one of my favorite actors. 5 stars. He saw a little bit of it.
Olivier B. He seemed to like it. He writes un classique d'enfance, which I think is roughly translated a childhood classic. And
okay.
he gave it 3,1/2 des étoiles, which is 3.5 out of stars.
There you go.
See, we're multicultural. We're a smat podcast, wicked smat podcast.
Wicked smart.
Wicked smat.
This is my last one. It's from Kyle M. I'm assuming it's Kyle Mooney. The bone structure shows some weakness, weirdness, and some fun energy within this goofball comedy with enough funny parts at a small amount sporadically to make this enjoyable at an okay level. B, a full review coming soon. He wrote that in 2012, by the way. No further review.
Not searching him up. No.
I actually did before this just to see if he.
And
he did not. He did not.
Didn't deliver on the promise.
No, we're waiting, Kyle.
Okay. So my last one comes from Justin M. I got nothing for this because this one I just have to read because of
Justin McElroy.
There you go. Herb Macklemore. I don't know what his first name is.
Oh, Lewis. I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, Justin M. in 2015 writes, CBS Radio Network is a liar. 1 out of stars.
What?
I don't know. That's what he wrote.
Is there a review on the cover by CBS Radio Network? Maybe there's like a review blurb. That's the only thing I could think of.
That's the only thing you can think of.
I don't know what else it would be.
I picked him over Bill S. I was gonna go with the Bill S. Preston Esquire joke there, but I saw that right above it, and I'm like, I can't not read that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bill S. Preston didn't like it much either, though.
Yeah, I don't see a review quote on the front of the box, so I don't know what he was talking about.
CBS Radio Network is a liar.
Sounds like a Tracy Morgan line.
Said by Brian Fellows.
Right. Tune in Sunday to get the clue for our next movie. It says Sunday Screen Crap. Tune into our social media pages, and you get to guess. You can guess what our next movie is.
Sounds like a whole lot of fun. But you also, what else is a whole lot of fun?
What's that?
Watching some television and some movies while you're staying inside to help, keep everything smoothing down. Actually, by the time this thing goes to air, apparently we are going to be full on green with no restrictions in our province.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
We will. I actually said to Patty today, I was like, I'm really intrigued to see what next Saturday is going to look like.
Yeah. I won't be leaving the house on that Saturday. I will say that right now.
I feel there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be severely disappointed when they go to stores and stores are like, yeah, you still have to wear a mask to come into our store.
And guess what? I'm probably going to do it for a while still.
I'm carrying my mask with me for a good long while. I might not be wearing it everywheres, but I'm carrying it with me because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah, and you know what else I'm not going to do, people? And hopefully everyone's listening. Not going to put up a fuss if a store owner wants me to wear it. So Just put it on. Don't be a dick.
I will put up a fuss if I do decide to wear it and a store owner tells me I can't wear it. I'll be like, cool. Not buying anything here.
Oh, jeez, if a store owner does that, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah.
All that stuff aside. If you're not in the the lucky New Brunswick bubble that we live in, we're still gonna keep giving out our suggestions as to things that you can do whilst you're staying inside, socially distancing and all that. It's the segment that has become quite near and dear to everybody's hearts, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. What you watching, bud?
A while back I watched a movie, and I think I talked about it with you off the air, but I watched a movie called Colossal. This is a movie I've wanted to see for a while. It stars Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis. She is an alcoholic. Her life is falling apart. She's on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
The character she plays.
Yes, not Anne Hathaway. I'm sure Anne Hathaway is wonderful.
Although there was a while there, I could understand her being in that situation, given how everybody was treating her so poorly. I don't get that.
No, it's stupid. It's because she's successful and people don't like success, I guess. I don't know.
She seems so sweet. I don't know why
Yeah.
anybody could take any umbrage with her whatsoever.
I've never heard one bad word said about Anne Hathaway, the person, by anyone who actually like worked with her or knew her. But anyway, yeah. So she's her character's having like a nervous breakdown. Her boyfriend leaves her and everything, and then she eventually finds out that her movements, when she goes to a certain area of town, are mimicking this giant monster in Seoul, South Korea. So obviously, that's a little odd. At the same time, she reconnects with a childhood friend played by Jason Sudeikis. I don't really want to say too much more than that, but I will say this. If you are going into this movie looking for like a kaiju movie, this is not what that is. It's a mix of like drama. I wouldn't really say romance, but like drama, kind of thriller. It's got a lot of it's about abuse in all of its forms too, in a way. And but it's really cool how they kind of tie everything together. Like it's a very unique way of telling a story. So I would highly recommend Colossal, and I believe it is currently streaming on Amazon Prime in Canada, and I'm sure it's somewhere in the States.
I thought it was a comedy kaiju movie.
It is not.
Either one of those things, eh? Okay.
There's maybe a little bit of like black comedy, but not really. Like it's more of a drama. It's just very creative, I thought anyway.
Okay, well, maybe I'll check it out now that I know I'm going in with the blinders off, I guess.
Yeah, definitely don't want you going in thinking it's a kaiju movie.
Yeah. What a letdown! I'll be like the fellow who told CBS network radio was a liar. Well, as far as what I've been watching, it's since we got a double dose of Brendan Fraser, you're getting a double dose of my Shudder subscription. I watched a movie called Haunt, and it was produced by Eli Roth. So that's some plus in its category as far as the credibility when it comes to horror movies. It's about these teenagers who decide they're going to go to one of those extreme Halloween haunted houses, and they're trying to help one of their friends kind of get over this sort of nasty breakup or wannabe breakup with a pretty abusive boyfriend that she's dealing with. The movie itself starts off, it's almost silly, but it gets dark real fast once they get into the haunted house. Obviously it's a horror movie, so the people who are running the haunted house are up to shenanigans that they shouldn't be up to, and the biggest praise, it's not the biggest praise, but one of the best things about this movie is that the ending didn't make me want to throw something at my screen. They got the ending absolutely right, and I couldn't have been more pleased with the ending.
Yeah, I was just double checking because it sounded familiar, and I can double down on that recommendation. It's a fun little movie.
Yeah. So, there you go. With that being said, we've got our usual weekly guy who's going to plug some stuff here, and I'll just go get him.
Steve's coming?
No. I didn't say shit plug.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hello, it's your good friend Montrose Monkington III here. I don't feel that I am as what's what I'm looking for here? Obnoxious with my plugin, because I come on briefly, and I'm not taking over the entire podcast trying to plug at every turn. I of course am your friends Montrose Monkington III. I do love me some wrestling, and you can find that out on my YouTube channel Montrose Monkington TV. If you would like to discuss wrestling with me as a Facebook friend, I do have a Facebook group, Montrose Monkington III Esquire and Friends. And also, if you want to tweet at me about the Graps, you can do that at Montrose III. That's the number 3 D on Twitter. Thank you. More later.
Thank you, Montrose.
You're welcome.
You can also find our podcast all over the place. We're on all the podcast apps, but our home base is, of course, Age of Radio.
Big time.
You can also find us at patreon.com/WWTT podcast. Find us on Redbubble, TeePublic. There's a website in the works. Might be up now, but it's not at the time of this recording. I'll announce when that's good to go, if I haven't already. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search for What Were They Thinking. We have a Facebook group, What Were They Thinking Interactive, where you can talk to us. You can yell at us. You can cheer us. You can boo us. You can, I don't know. But that's it. That's it. That's all. I guess, buddy, I just have some questions for you.
Okay.
Well, in a movie in which there's a lot of incelage,
Correctamundo,
and Brendan Fraser is oozing that sexage,
as he always does, buddy.
And he's wheezing the juice.
No, wheezing the juice.
And we got Rose McMeowen.
Stone Cold Fox.
Paulie, just give me a moment, okay? Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry about that. No, I just have to ask you, Nathan.
Oh, please proceed.
What were they thinking, buddy?